Well, good evening, everybody. Once again, we are so excited. This is our very first information session for our business, Bridges to Belonging. And by the way, I'll be looking back and forth at screen. So if you see me looking off to the side, that's what I'm doing. As I mentioned before, this is going to be a recorded session. And Kimberly, just so you know, if we don't have any other live participants, you by default will be our Amazon gift card winner. But you have
Yay.
to stay to the end.
Okay,
Yes, you
stay.
gotta
Okay.
stay. Okay. So without further ado, we are going to go ahead and jump in and get started.
Okay, before we dive into our introductions, we would like to invite you to feel free to raise your hand or to type in the chat if you have any questions or need further clarification on any of the points that we will be mentioning in this presentation. There aren't a whole lot of us in this meeting, so we will keep things casual, but by not utilizing the Q&A feature of Zoom. So if you have any questions, you can just raise your hand so we know that you have something to say, something to ask. Feel free to do that, Kimberly, my namesake. So let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Kimberly DeLara Staunton, and I am one half of the dynamic duo that makes up our company. As you can see on the slide, my background is on inclusive education best practices, SEL or social emotional learning, data-driven instruction, coaching, curriculum design, and community and family engagement. All of these specialty areas are driven by my deep desire to advocate and support diverse learners. I was once in their shoes and can empathize with the specific subgroup. I also believe in the expression of giving back, right? To give back. Through my work with diverse learners, I've had the opportunity to impart knowledge and skills. Not only to impart knowledge and skills, but also more importantly, I've gained so much in return. I've learned deeply about different perspectives, experiences, and ways of life. This work has really shaped me professionally and enriched me personally in ways I never expected. So I feel incredibly fortunate and well prepared to continue serving and advocating for diverse communities. Our mission for our company is to partner with schools and families to support diverse learners through strengths-based, inclusive, and emotionally supportive practices that can help every learner thrive. I'll pass it on
Okay,
to
and
Miss Salam.
yes, I'm sorry, I hopped in too fast. So yes, my name is Sophia Saddam, and I am also a co-founder of Bridges to Belonging. I started off my career as a special education teacher. Then I shifted into his ESL, and now I am doing school administration. As you can see, my specialty areas are duly identified learners because I do have that background with special education, family engagement, differentiation of instruction, co teaching, SEL, coupled with classroom management, and teacher mentoring. All right, so every business has a genesis. It has a beginning, it has a story behind it. And so we wanted to just spend some time tonight sharing with you who we are and how we found ourselves here at this point of launching a new education consultancy. And so these photos tell the story. So Kimberly and I met at a local elementary school. At the time, we were both ESL teachers. And the first few years, we noticed that our kids really had a need beyond the classroom. And not only did our kids have a need, but their parents also had a need beyond the classroom. And then when you couple that with the COVID-19 pandemic, we realized that we really needed to begin to do things differently to make sure that we secure places of belonging for our kids within the school and then also outside in the community. So those pictures that you see on top are events that we held at the school and also field trips and learning experiences that we had outside of the school for our students.
So, in a nutshell, our company partners with schools and organizations to design research and evidence based strategies that ensure every diverse learner feels a strong sense of belonging the moment they enter your learning environment. Our goal is to support students in becoming not only college and career ready, but also confident, empowered individuals who thrive well beyond the walls of the classroom.
Okay, so you might be asking, who do we serve? So, our umbrella of services is wide. We partner with schools, educators, families, nonprofits, and other learning environments that we may not have previously thought of. And we have a wide range of learning communities. At the heart of our work is a deep commitment to advocating for diverse learners. Our mission is to ensure that often underrepresented groups of students feel empowered, engaged, valued, and seen. And we want to make sure that we're collaborating with you to implement equity based services that are tailored to you, to your organization, and to your needs. So, we'll be talking about services later on in this presentation. And if you see that there's one that we haven't addressed, please just reach out to us because we do have services to address you and the plethora of needs that you may bring to us.
So, as Sophia mentioned, we have a plethora of services. In order to serve you, we are offering a comprehensive consulting package designed to support schools to advance their work with diverse learners. Our services include, these are just some of it, and their hands-on ESL teacher training, detailed lesson plan reviews with timely and actionable feedback, and guidance on integrating culturally responsive or social emotional learning interventions into classroom instruction. So, in addition to providing assistance with developing ESL aligned curriculum, we are also equipped to deliver interactive professional development workshops, and coaching with regular check ins and progress monitoring or progress reports. All of these with the goal of ensuring lasting impact on language growth, academic achievement, and student well being for diverse learners. So, to emphasize, there is not a one size fits all approach to this because our educational landscape varies from school to school, of course, right? So, we are very flexible in working with you and your team to develop tailored services or strategies that fit the needs and the goals of your organization.
Okay, just in time. I don't know if you guys noticed, I lost Wi-Fi, but I got in
Oh,
just in time. Hey. So I want to
yay.
take a moment very clear about who those diverse learners are because that term can be an ambiguous term. So I want to make sure that we're clear. So we're talking about our multilingual learners, our students with disabilities, learning differences, our neurodivergent learners, and students from racially, ethnically, and socioeconomically diverse backgrounds. I want to remind you that supporting diverse learners isn't just about meeting legal requirements or academic standards because we know there's so much more to these children, these human beings. It's about equity, opportunity, and human dignity. When we design instruction with diverse learners in mind, we don't just support individual students, but we create a classroom where all students can thrive because our typical students also benefit from environments where all students have the opportunity to thrive and to succeed in their learning setting.
Mhm. So here is a short video. I'm not sure if are you all able to see it?
I can see it.
Okay,
Yes, I
there you
can
go.
see it.
Perfect.
I hope we'll spend some time thinking about how to establish.
All right. So before I'm just checking if it works. So in
Yeah,
this
you did.
video, it's really short. Dr. Strayhorn, he's a prolific and influential scholar in education and psychology. He shares key strategies for fostering a sense of belonging. Like Sophia mentioned, right, in the previous slide, we all want our students to not only meet the academic standards or making sure that we are in compliance with legal requirements, but we also need to make sure that our students feel a sense of belonging, so that they feel supported in their learning environments, enhancing their overall engagement. So let's listen and discover how implementing these practices can lead to improved academic outcomes and a more harmonious classroom atmosphere. Whether you're an educator, an administrator, or an advocate for inclusive education, this video offers actionable tips to make your classroom a welcoming space for students.
Classroom rituals and traditions that promote a sense of unity. Listen, friends, I'm talking about like secret handshakes, sharing circles, morning meetings, a favorite class song, something that you do that gets everyone together and they're building community, learning about each other, but most importantly, having fun. If the science on belonging says nothing, it says this, that when we do the things we're talking about to foster belonging, our students will succeed.
All right, so the video may show a classroom of young students, but these strategies are also helpful for older students, even adult learners. I guess, did we lose Sophia? Okay.
Oh,
I'll take
I'm
over.
here. Can you
Oh,
hear me? I
there,
think
there.
I was muted. I was
Okay,
just talking
perfect.
and talking and I was muted. So we want to just make this a little bit interactive. So it's not just us sitting here talking to you this evening. So I'd like you to just take a moment. I'd like to invite you to think about a time when you really felt a sense of belonging. It could be in a learning environment, it could be at your workplace, it could be at your church, at home. But think about that. And then after you take your minute to think about it, I'd like you to just go ahead and unmute. If you're in a position where you can unmute, if you can't unmute and share it with us, then you can just take that time and then share it in the chat. So I'm going to give you a moment to figure out which one you want to do.
Okay. Um, I I feel a sense of belonging anytime that I'm working together with someone and achieving a goal, whether it's with my family or with my church community or just at the school I work with. I feel like I belong when I'm working together with others to accomplish a goal.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So we have another one. Many diverse learners, not all, and we're again, as Kimberly mentioned earlier, we're talking about learners all the way from kindergarten to adulthood. But many of them sometimes struggle to feel like they belong in their learning environments. And so, you, having known that you work in a school, why do you think that might be? And for those of you who are watching the recording, whatever your setting is, why take a moment to just think about why do you think that might be that the diverse learners sometimes struggle to feel like they belong in their learning classrooms? And again, you can turn on your microphone and share.
I think sometimes they're aware of their limitations, and so they just like have that low self-esteem.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many other factors that play into that, from low self-esteem to also just not feeling like they've been able to make a connection maybe with their teacher in that environment, teacher or instructor, or the other
Mm-hmm.
students who are in that environment as well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then they get the sense of feeling excluded, right? Like
Right.
Kimberly, our participant, mentioned, like what she feels a sense of belonging. If she's included, she's part of the planning, she's part of the goal setting. These students, these are
Mm-hmm.
diverse learners.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, don't have the confidence to access
Right.
these resources yet,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and so they don't really feel that sense that they belong, that they're part of the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is the moment in our presentation where we want to shift and make sure that we give you some type of a takeaway that you can take with you immediately and implement it with the students in your school or in your learning environment or nonprofit organization, etc. So, in today's increasingly diverse and dynamic learning environments, fostering a true sense of community and connection is not just important, it is essential. And we think about the kids and we think about students and their affective filter, and how if they don't really have that sense of belonging, ultimately it's going to lead to having a barrier to education. So when students feel seen, heard, and valued, learning deepens, relationships strengthen, and the learning environment becomes a place of growth, safety, and possibility. And I'm sure everybody here has seen that, has witnessed that happen, at least at some point in our journey as professionals. But for some students, and especially those from historically marginalized or unrepresented groups, a sense of belonging is not always guaranteed. And that's where we come in, right? Because whether due to language barriers, learning differences, or feeling disconnected from the organization's culture, these students just may simply struggle to find their place. So, we're going to give you a short session that centers on the belief that every student deserves to be known, included, and connected. We will explore actionable, equity driven strategies to create learning spaces where all students and adults can thrive. Together, we'll examine how fostering authentic relationships, affirming identities, and co creating inclusive environments leads to stronger, more resilient learning environments.
So it's very important for us that you don't leave this evening without gaining access to some tools that you can take away immediately and implement with your students right away in any kind of setting. So from welcoming routines and inclusive language to affirming practices, mindset shifts, and organization-wide inclusive practices, there are so many different strategies that build a strong culture of belonging for all students. We'd also like to delve deeper into organization-wide inclusive practices by sharing a lesson plan checklist that can be utilized in learning settings. So in just a moment, Ms. Salam is going to drop a file, a document, PDF document that is going to contain a lesson plan checklist for our diverse learners.
Okay, so actually, I do not have that document. I thought I was sharing it and you were going to drop it.
Oh,
If you give me
yes.
permission, though, I can share my screen.
Oh, yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
is, yeah, it's going to come out. We're going to send it once we're done tonight, and it will be sent to your email. But for now, we just want to briefly go over it.
I'll send it. Hang on one second.
Okay, let's see. Will it let me share? Yes, it will.
Can you still see my screen?
I don't see yours. I'm hoping everybody can see the checklist. Can you guys see it?
I can see it.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay. So here we go. So this is a lesson plan checklist for a diverse classroom. And remember, we're talking about classrooms in schools and nonprofit organizations. We're talking about young learners, adult learners. We can use this with any of those people, that the aforementioned people. So if we look, it's divided into our planning and objectives, cultural relevance and belongingness, differentiation and accessibility, student engagement, classroom environment and management, and assessment and feedback. And so the way you would use this tool is that you would go ahead and design whatever lesson that you're going to use for your students. And then you bring out this checklist as a rubric to check yourself to see if you truly have an inclusive lesson plan that's going to allow all of your diverse learners to excel in that learning setting. So, for example, with our planning and objectives, you'll be thinking about your universal design for learning. You'll think about your objectives and whether or not they accommodate various abilities. For the cultural relevance and belongingness, you'll think about, hey, how about this content that I'm sharing with my students? Does it avoid stereotypes and biases? Does it value various and diverse cultures and languages? For differentiation and accessibility, you're thinking about scaffolding for your diverse learners. How about multiple means of engagement, representation, and expression? You're even thinking about tools that make the materials more accessible for your students, such as large print or highlighting. For your student engagement, you would be considering whether or not the students have interactive opportunities to work in collaborative groups. And before you even make that lesson, have you considered your students' interests and their background as you prepare to plan for it? And then finally, with your classroom environment and management and your assessment and feedback, you're thinking about the learning space. Is it culturally affirming? Is it physically inclusive? Is there choice and voice for your students when they're establishing the norms in your classroom? How about your behavior expectations? Are they culturally responsive to your students? As for your assessment and feedback, are your assessments accessible? Did you consider your students' scaffolds and accommodations? Again, do your students have choice and voice in how they get to demonstrate their mastery to you? And then is there feedback and is it growth oriented? So we will be emailing that out to you
I
once
just
we
dropped it
wrap
in the
up this
chat.
presentation. I'm sorry. Oh, it's in the
I
chat.
dropped it
Yay.
in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Kimberly can go back and share the main PowerPoint.
Are you able to see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Perfect. So how can we help? To reiterate, we are an education consultancy focused on helping diverse learners in a variety of settings. As we've mentioned, as Sophie has mentioned, schools, nonprofits, community organizations, private, public schools. We work collaboratively with your organization with whatever needs you may have regarding the student population. This work includes the micro level of standards, alignment, and instructional practices, and differentiation of instruction to trainings on culturally responsive and trauma-informed practices. We'll help you design social emotional learning integration into your organization, and we work alongside you to design meaningful assessments and timely feedback practices. Most importantly, our services are tailored and customizable to the specific needs of your organization.
Okay, so before we wrap up for the night, I'd like for you to take a moment and look at our contact information. As we mentioned before, we have so many services. We are willing to consult with you, to have a discovery call, to sit and figure out whether or not we would be a good fit for you and for your organization. We also have services that are tailored to you and your particular organization. We want to make sure to thank those of you who joined live. We do have a small audience tonight, but again, we're very excited. This is our very first information session.
Yes.
So we're hoping to start small and to grow large and to be meaningful and intentional in supporting our educational organizations throughout the Mid-South and beyond, hopefully, eventually. So just a couple of things I want you to think about, look out for. Please stay tuned for an upcoming newsletter that we will be sending out so that you can catch up with us and know what we're doing. We will be doing additional future webinars. Again, we have our social media listed to the right. Please, please take a moment, capture the QR code so that we can get your feedback. This is so important because it's going to help us to direct any of the services that we organize in the future. So it's really important that we get your feedback. And we just want you to continue to build bridges to belonging in every learning environment. We look forward to working with you and hearing from you. One more thing I want to add, if you find that, okay, this information tonight, it was very useful. However, it's not quite the fit for me and my organization, that's no problem at all. We are asking that you do share our bridges to belonging with peers, with colleagues, with friends, because we are certain that we will be a fit for someone.
Yes.